Hi, everybody, and welcome to Beyond the Gates weekly recap, Lake County Sentinel Entertainment Extra. This is week 37 of the best soap opera on television. There's been a lot going on in Fairmount Crest. Leslie also bullying Laura. This is from the beginning of the show where Leslie ran her down when she was Leslie was on a motorcycle and she ran her down and nearly killed her and then poisoned her with potassium. That's starting up again. Leslie feels empowered now, because she has all the money she does. So now she's bullying Laura. Anita already warned her to stop. And, Nicole showed up when she was bullying her, but of course, Nicole didn't do anything. But we've got a lot of other stuff to talk about that happened this week. Vernon leaving Sharon's room. Leslie saw him leaving Sharon's room and threatened to tell Anita if, Vernon doesn't give her a bigger role, get her a more prominent role on the Winterfest committee. I still say that Vernon is meeting Anita, and it has something to do with the Articulates performing at Winterfest. I think that they'll perform at Winterfest. And so I think that's what's happening. That's why Vernon's meeting with her. I feel like it would be a huge mistake for the writers to have Vernon having an affair. I think it would be a huge mistake. I mean, this is a soap opera, but I think it would be a huge mistake. The Duprees, Vernon and Anita are the rock of this show. For that to be, for them to mess with that, I think would just be ridiculous. So I'm hoping that it's just something with Winterfest. Hold on one second. Had a little thing on my glasses, was driving me insane. But yeah, so I think that's what's happening. Vernon, also more with Vernon. Today, Vernon warned Martin that he could get he's not that he could, he's going to get a primary challenge in his upcoming congressional race next year. It's less than a year away from the election, and Martin hasn't done really anything. So I think that, Vernon's just trying to light a fire under his grandson to get him to realize that he better start doing something. Andre and Danny honeymooned in LA this week. Of course, where, Danny was spending a lot of money. There was a little thing there yesterday where they, oh my Lord, I'm sorry. Andre basically said he wants to spend Thanksgiving with his Uncle Ted. And Danny didn't seem to like that idea at all. But, Ted, cheated on her sister, but she also has to understand that Ted is Andre's uncle, and he helped raise him after his parents got killed. So, that was just a little thing. I don't think it'll be a big deal. And then, Martin, talking about Martin with Vernon, but was it yesterday? Oh, it was Wednesday and yesterday. It carried over into yesterday. Martin getting into it with Kat. Martin was disgusted. I'm itchy back. Martin was disgusted how Kat was talking to Ava. You know, it was unbelievable how Martin was talking to Ava. Well, it was not unbelievable, you know. Kat is a complete bitch, right? I mean, we've known this from the beginning of the show. That Kat is a bitch. She is a snob bitch. She's probably she's the most she's the most unlikable character on the show. I mean, there's no doubt about it. She's just a snob. You know, she thinks that she's amazing. And everything is her. Everything has to go her way. If it doesn't, the other person's a bad person. So, you know, these are traits of a snob. So, but, you know, and Martin handled it very well. You know, he told her that, you know, Ava's part of the family. And, you know, Kat started saying horrible things. Of course, he heard Kat say that she wished that Eva was never born or that she didn't exist. And that just pissed Martin off. Because that's one of the worst things you could say to a person. It really is one of the worst things you could say to a person. So, let alone your own sister. You know, but can't have another sister because she wants all the attention to herself because she's a little snob. But Eva went right back at her. You know, Eva goes, she don't hold back, Eva. She goes back and she says what she thinks. And, you know, Kat she was so disgusted that Ted is going to bring Ava to Winterfest as his +1. Oh my gosh. How dare he bring his other daughter to Winterfest? How dare he bring her there? God, Kat is such a witch. I can't stand Kat. You know, it's ridiculous. You know, she's such a rotten person. You know, today, Smitty, you know, had the discussion with Terrell. Terrell now is not sure he wants to go to Banneker. He may go to the University of California at Los Angeles because that's where his girlfriend, Jessica, is going. So, you know, him and Smitty had a talk about it. Of course, when Martin came home, Martin had a stroke about it. You know, Martin is very much like Kat, too, where they think they got to control everything. Everything's got to be their way. You know, Martin's much less of a snob than Kat. He's not a snob. Martin's a good guy. But sometimes that control thing takes over, and he feels like he's got to control things. And, you know, Terrell's got to go where he wants to go to college, right? I mean, you can't tell a kid to go to a college he don't want to go to just because you want him to go there. Seriously. So that's what was going on with that. There's not a lot really. You know, Peaches is having some health issues. So, of course, Leslie's using that to get closer to Ted because she uses everything to get closer to Ted. I just wish the writers would end that and would say, at least end it for now and let Ted get back with Nicole. But, of course, you know, the other doctor, Ted's partner, I can't remember his name, you know, he's coming in there too and, you know, acting like he's, you know, still got a chance with her. I got a fantasy football question here on the Beyond the Gate show. I would go with Sean Tucker. Irving's out again. But back to the show. back to real life in Fairmount Crest Beyond the Gates. No problem, Mark or Mac. So, I think that Nicole and Ted will get back together. It's just taken a while. These storylines take, they go on for a while. And, I don't know. I just, Nicole's not a very likable character. Ted's definitely a more likable character than she is. But I think, for, all of us who watched the show from the beginning, we want to see them get back together. Even though they were disgustingly happy before the truth came out. I mean, they were disgustingly happy. It was kind of annoying. It wasn't kind of annoying. It was very annoying. So, but I think they'll get back together eventually. Now, Danny and Bill, I don't know. Because she is married to Andre now, and they seem to be happy right now. But there's going to be a problem. Something's going to happen, and there's going to be a problem. After all, this is soap opera, right? So, but we're coming up on, like, today, Monday will be the 9-month anniversary of the show. We're around 180 episodes now. We're getting in there. It's been good too. It's been good. And from what I understand, the ratings are good. I just think that if the writing continues to be as good as it has been, the show will be fine. I think that that's what it has to be. The writing has to continue. The writing is what kills a show. Like I said, they sometimes beat General Hospital or match General Hospital, which I think is huge. So I think that as long as they don't screw with the writers, which some soap operas do, I mean, that honestly, Santa Barbara might still be on television if NBC hadn't screwed with their writers so much. Well, they hired some horrible writers and executive producers in the last few years. John Conboy, what a mistake that was for Santa Barbara. Let's just hope that Beyond the Gates doesn't make those type of mistakes, because they really, really ruined that show. Some of the same people work on this show. So hopefully they can keep these people together. And the show can last for a long time. Santa Barbara should still be on the air. It lasted almost 10 years, but I feel like it should still be on the air. And maybe that's what we'll do next week. We'll do the vault on Santa Barbara. We'll do that at the end of the show next week. We're going to be a little shorter than normal today. I think we've pretty much gone over everything that happened this week. It was very, I did forget the part where Martin, Smitty, and the kids were at Orphe Jean's, and Smitty went over and, he apologized to June, and then he told June thank you for helping them with the kids. June being their real mom, who fought drug problems. Sean Tucker. Sean Tucker Coop. But So I think, that was a nice moment there. And I just think that was a nice moment. And I'm glad that Smitty, because he was worried about June, the kids wanted to be with June then and then lose them. So I like the fact that Smitty came around. I like June. I like the character of June. She's a good character. She's a good-hearted person who has nothing. She lost her kids, but now she has a relationship with them again. She was homeless when they introduced her. So she's a good character. I really like that character. It's one of the best characters and best storylines that this show had, is the June storyline with Naomi and Jacob. So it that was nice this week when Martin told her that he was sorry for not being very nice to her, for telling her at one point she could never see the kids again. And even Terrell's coming around. Terrell was hesitant at first because, he remembered the things that happened with June, that she left him alone. They were just kids, and she left them alone. And they were eventually taken away from her. But Terrell's come around. He goes and sees her. Samantha, she's been in trouble, so she doesn't have anything going on right now. She don't even have her phone or her iPad or her laptop or anything. They took it from her. And so she's pretty miserable right now. I'm just anxious to see Winterfest. I don't know if Winterfest is right before Christmas, right after Christmas. I don't know. They haven't said. Is it between Thanksgiving and Christmas? I don't know. But I'm really excited to see it. What's going to go on there. When soap operas lead up to something like this, usually a lot happens then. And it'll be great to see. It'll be great to see what happens. I just want to know what the hell why Vernon's meeting with Shirer. Okay, that's all I want to find out. I just want to find that out. That's all. And there's not really a lot much more. Boy, that's really good. There's really not much more to talk about today. We will be here next week. And like I said, next week, we'll open the vault next week. And we will look back at the NBC soap opera, Santa Barbara. It was a great soap opera on from 1984 to 1993. That's after we recap what went on last week or next week on Beyond the Gates. We have some time left at the end, some weeks, like today even. We're going to cut it a little short today. We're going about 20 minutes today. But it was a good show. Some of the writers that are on Beyond the Gates wrote for Santa Barbara. So we'll talk about Santa Barbara next week. We'll talk about some of the interesting things that went on there. It very much was. It was a good soap opera. When it was on, it was my favorite soap at the time. There was a lot of comedy in that soap opera. It wasn't like a sitcom soap opera, but there was comedy. It was so ridiculous. It was funny. So that'll be next week. But until next week, until I see you next week at 3:00 Eastern, next Friday, maybe I'll see you somewhere around Fairmount Crest.